The one thing I'm not a fan of, and Lincoln kind of talked about this a little bit, is playing two quarterbacks. I've just never been a fan of a two quarterback system. I mean, if it's a change of pace, like you've got like Blake Bell a few years ago, and even Caleb Williams had been playing this role in kind of the red zone and fourth and short situations, third and short situations. I'm all for that. I think that's fine, but playing playing Caleb Williams for 2 or 3 series and then playing Rattler for 2 or 3 series, that's just not good. So whoever they go with, I think they'll go and and use that guy until maybe that guy kind of struggles a little bit. But we'll see. I mean, I think we'll all find out at 6:30 p.m. on Saturday night. Um, I would be a little bit surprised if, I mean, at least right now, if it's not Caleb. Um, but we'll see. Who knows? If Lincoln really still at the end of the day thinks Spencer's experience and what he can give them in the passing game gives them the best chance to be successful, that's what they'll do. But giving all of the intricacies, all of the intangible type of things that are going on with this thing, I would be a little bit surprised if that were to be the case.
In the Jalen Hurts Tua Tagovailoa saga is a good comparison to draw. Jalen Hurts was a guy who, by all accounts, whether that comes from his teammates or Nick Saban or others, did everything right in regards to maintaining his place as a good teammate and supporting. And then I would have never guessed that Jalen Hurts would wind up as a starting quarterback in the NFL. He just never struck me as this guy's going to be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And especially at that point in his career, he was just not projected to be one, and I didn't see him as one. Now the game's changed, and the way offensive football is called now has permeated into the NFL to suit a player of his abilities, and he's improved, and he may be able to thank, and I'm sure he does, his time at Oklahoma and learning under Lincoln Riley, which has suited him for the pro game even more. But again, getting back to the relationship of and the dynamics of the situation, it's an interesting comparison to draw. Oklahoma fans may want to also consider that, number one, Caleb Williams is amazing, 5-star. He's come in and done an outstanding job, and of course, the what he pulled off with the help of his teammates, of course, was historic on Saturday. But there could be some down moments and some rough patches as he continues to develop and grow. Number two, don't be surprised if Spencer Rattler is needed at some point. I'm not saying that he will be, but it's a tough sport and injuries do happen. I'm not anticipating necessarily him being needed because of poor play.
Yeah.
Because once you commit to making that change, the poor play has to be excessively poor to go back to the original starter. But that, again, it's a game, it's a collision sport, and injuries do happen. So Oklahoma fans maybe need to be prepared to cheer once again for Spencer Rattler at some point. Most likely not, but it's possible.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You have to expect at some point that he'll, and like I said, even if it's a 2-point conversion, even if it's a spot play, even if it's an injury for one single play, then go ahead.
So what did happen on that 2-point conversion? Because I meant to ask you that, because I'm watching, like, I'm not locked in. I'm watching like 3 games and I see Spencer Rattler in for the 2-point conversion. And I'm thinking, did Caleb Williams get nicked up on that play? Or is Lincoln Riley just making a move to say, we want to keep you involved in what's going on and keep you in it?
So I think, and it was kind of funny. I thought the same exact thing, watching it. I'm like, what's happening? Why, why is he back in the game at this point? Maybe the most important play of the game at that point right there, right?
Yeah.
And I think just kind of gleaning from that and some of the comments that Lincoln made after the game is just Caleb hasn't had a lot of opportunities to, to get reps in some of their 2-point plays, and then obviously Rattler had got more reps. So I think that's probably the determining factor. Um, Doing that over and over and just really, not having Caleb to have the opportunity and experience doing that. However, it's so hard to get anything great. I think he's done a great job since he's been here, but it's so hard to get anything truthful out of Lincoln because it's just coach speak after coach speak after coach speak, and you don't know. I mean, there's a lot of people that think maybe he put him in there just to allow him to get some credibility if he does if he does try to transfer, right? Showing in that moment he was down, but he still delivered a really good pass and made one of the biggest plays of the game there. But even in the post game press conference, Lincoln said that he legitimately thought about putting Spencer Rattler in for the very final drive of the game, and I'm just kind of scratching my head, like that can't be that can't be actually right. Like, he's just trying to make the kid, feel better and making and not make him go in the tank, or you know what I mean? But because I can't legitimately think that he had any kind of thoughts about seriously putting, Spencer Rattler back in the game at that point. And not to say that Spencer Rattler can't play anymore, but at
Sure.
that moment,
Yeah.
all the momentum as well as,
Yes.
Williams has played, there's gotta be um, no thought about whatsoever about him putting him back in. So, yeah, and I think one of the points that you made and one of the points that I think is lost, I think, on some people following this story is that he's going to make some mistakes. Like, it's going to happen. He's a true freshman. He didn't make any turnover mistakes, but even, I think in the games that he's played, he's dropped about 4 or 5 snaps. He's for whatever I don't know if he's just
Mm.
kind of taking his eyes off the snap at the last minute, kind of looking at the defense. He's got to figure that out a little bit. I mean, and there's some typical, very true freshman-esque plays that you would see. He had a couple of check downs that he missed out of running backs out of the backfield that he missed, and he'll get that with time. But yeah, there's going to be some mistakes. But however, having said that, if something like this was to happen, I think this is the best time for it to happen. TCU's a good team. I mean, don't get me wrong. They've struggled a little bit. They're not anywhere near as good defensively as they've been in the past. Um, but you have Texas Tech, you have Kansas, and then you have a bye week before you get to really the big part of your schedule with going to Baylor, going to Oklahoma State, and hosting Iowa State. So um, I think this is the time to get him really, really involved and really um, really kind of strong and in that continuity with the offense. But um, anyway, I mean, this, like I said, you hear some of the coach speak from Riley. You don't really know. I still would be surprised, but heck, I'm surprised. Me and you were here last week, and we neither of us expected Alabama to lose a game or Georgia to lose a game until the SEC championship game, and it happened. So this year is expect the unexpected every by every stretch. I mean, look at the Penn State Iowa game. I mean, just a perfect example of how important it is to have a solid backup and have depth. And I can't. You'll probably be able to remember the kid's name. I can't remember the backup quarterback for Penn State, but that game went the opposite direction in such a hurry because he just wasn't ready to. He just wasn't ready. So it's a good problem I think that Oklahoma has here, without a doubt.